Hello everybody, it's Ashley Rhianne and I'm here with a 35-minute Fire Pilates video. So we're just going to start with our legs cross-legged, just really feeling rooted through our sit bones. We're going to take a nice deep breath in, starting at the base of the spine. We're going to lengthen all the way up to the ceiling. On your exhale, I want you to start by tipping the tailbone back, sitting behind the sit bones, really rounding into a nice C curve in the whole back. On the inhale, reaching all the way up to the ceiling, really reaching out of those hips, lengthening the waist. And on the exhale, leading with that scooped belly, we're just going to round to the back, really feeling the back body open. We're going to do this a few more times, just really seeking that length in the body on that nice deep breath in, going up to the ceiling, and on the exhale, rounding right into that back body, feeling that really nice connection, slurping those ribs together. Good, and we're just going to come back to stack. We're going to do some side bends here. So on your inhale, we're going to really just bring those ribs to hips. On the exhale, we're just going to transfer right through center and lengthening to the other side. So the connection here is keeping the sit bones really connected to the floor, bringing those ribs towards the hips. So really initiating right from the waistline, and please make sure that your arm is reaching overhead, making sure that that shoulder is not coming up around your ears. So really feeling that scapular glide down your back. Really seeking that length, connecting with the opposite sit bone to keep both hip bones on the floor. Just really enjoy this stretch. It's really beautiful. We'll do some gentle spinal twists. So on the inhale, we're just going to gently rotate with the right hand on the left leg. And on the exhale, we'll just rotate through center to the opposite side. So in terms of the breath work, just moving with whatever you feel comfortable with. Just seeking that length first and then feeling that nice spiral through the whole back line, working through the ribs, getting that torso warmed up. And also just creating a lot of space between your rib cage and those hips. So the higher you sit up on those sit bones, the more space you're going to have to actually rotate, because you've got more space for those ribs to move away from those hips. Lovely. Let's come into all fours. We're going to come just into some cat and cow. So let's just get our knees aligned underneath our hips. Let's draw the shoulder blades down the back. Let's rotate the inner part of those arms to face each other. And on the inhale, we're going to curl up like a cat. So leading with the lower abdominals, we're going to really slurp to pull ourselves into that upward position. And then on the exhale, a slight little flare through that tailbone to extend all the way from the tailbone to the top of that head. We're going to stay here just for a few more breaths. I want you to really focus on that really nice back body extension, and then also when you're coming into your cat stretch, working on that front body and also that back body deep C curve in that spine. So it's really important for us to be able to move our spine in different directions. It helps keep those muscles nice and supple, helps get the bones have some mobility, and also helps really strengthen the intervertebral discs. We're going to come into a moving cat and cow here. So we're going to sit back on our hips on that inhale, and then on the exhale, we're going to shift our weight towards our hands. We're going to scoop through the upper body, lower belly, really pulling in away from your t-shirt. Inhale to return the hips towards the heels, and on the exhale, we're going to shift our weight forward, coming into that nice long extension. Inhale to sit back. And exhale, rounding up, scooping those abdominals, scooping those ribs. This is a really beautiful place for women who have difficulty finding their pelvic floor to work, and also anybody who's dealing with any postpartum symptoms. This is a really great exercise to do here, and it's also very safe. We're going to come back to all fours, and we're going to do a little bit of rotation work. So let's just shake out those wrists. Let's draw the inner arm to face the side, right hand on the back of the head. On the inhale, we're going to open the right rib cage towards the right side, looking underneath that elbow. On the exhale, using those left obliques to return that torso back to face the floor. We're going to do this 4 times, so really working on that really beautiful side rotation. We're going to go into thread the needle. So on that next inhale, we're going to spread that arm nice and wide and dive it underneath that left arm. Really focusing on that cross-body connection here. So inhale, the arm extends towards the ceiling. On the exhale, we drive that arm, keeping the energy nice and flowing through the arm, through the hand, trying to touch the wall right behind you. Again, our head and our eyes are always following the line of our hands. And let's just hang out here. So let's bring our shoulder to the ground, draw the scapula away from the ears, and just keep reaching with that hand, with that arm. Beautiful. And let's come back for the left hand side. Let's put the left hand on the back of the head. Let's draw the inside part of that right arm to face that back wall. And again, just working on that really beautiful torso twist. So we're opening that left side towards that back wall on your inhale, on your exhale, using those right obliques to help pull that torso, pull that chest down to face the floor. We're going to do this 4 times before we go into thread the needle. So let's inhale. We're going to extend that left arm up to the ceiling. On the exhale, diving that arm under, keeping lots of energy in that hand, reaching under, working on that beautiful cross-body connection. Inhale to open to the ceiling. Exhale to cross. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale, reaching all the way up. Again, your eyes are following your hand the whole time. And last time. And then we're going to hang out in that big stretch. So keep lots of energy in that arm and that hand. Keep twisting that torso. Lovely. And let's shake out those wrists, and we're going to transition. We're going to come and do a little bit of pelvic work here. So let's just come and lie on our backs. Just make any adjustments that you need to get nice and comfortable. And when you're ready, we're going to draw the knees in towards the chest. And you can just rock side to side if you want to move your head in the opposite direction, just to release any bit of tension. So we're going to work on our pelvic rocks coming up. So we're working out of a neutral spine into an imprinted spine. So let's place our feet on the floor, sit bone distance apart. You can pop your hands on your hips if you'd like. On your inhale, I want you to lengthen your sit bones towards your heels, tucking up through that pubic bone. On the exhale, we're going to reverse that. So we're tipping the pubic bone down towards your feet, coming into a slight little arch in the back. We're going to do this a few times, just again, mobilizing that lower spine. We're going to go into our pelvic clockwork. So let's just start by placing our hands on our hips, just to make sure that everything is nice and aligned. We're in that neutral spine. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on getting a really nice pelvic tilt side to side. So let's draw that right hip bone up towards the ribs, and then we're going to go over to the left. So we're keeping the hips on the ground, and we're just trying to bring that hip bone up towards the ribs, getting a little bit of that lateral flexion. And it's really nice if you want to use your hands as a bit of a guide. You can just check to see how much lateral flexion you could get side to side. We're going to go right into our pelvic clock here. So let's press our hands down into the floor, and we're going to start on the left side. So let's draw that left hip bone towards the ribs, moving right through that little bit of an arch, right hip up to ribs and through imprint. So we're just going to keep moving side to side, really trying to increase all those different bits of range in the back. So scooping the lateral flexion up, feeling that nice imprint, that lengthening of that tailbone, and then also leading with the pubic bone to get that really nice soft little arch in the back. So here you can work in all 4 points separately, or you can actually connect all 4 and make them into a little bit of a circle. It's totally up to you, just whatever you feel comfortable with, but just making sure that you balance everything out. We're going to go into our ab preps. Let's knit those ribs together, hands pressing down into the floor. We're going to take a nice deep breath in to lengthen all the way from the top of the head to the tailbone. On the exhale, let's fold the ribs towards the hips, keeps the arms nice and long, coming all the way up. Hold it here, take a nice deep breath in, and on the exhale, we're going to come all the way down, vertebra by vertebra, hands float down, take a nice deep breath in to lengthen, and on the exhale, we knit those ribs together, draw them towards the hips, eyes are looking right over the knees. Hold it here, deep breath in, exhale, rolling all the way back down. And exhale all the way up. And coming all the way down. Lovely. Let's take a nice full deep breath in, and on that exhale, coming all the way up, drawing those ribs towards those hips, and laying back down on that exhale. Let's just relieve the back. Beautiful. We're going to come into a tabletop position, so hips can be in an imprint. We're going to bring our legs in that tabletop position. Level 1 is we're going to keep the upper body down. Hands are going to go on the thighs. We're going to take a nice full deep breath in to prepare. On the exhale, we're going to press our hands into our legs into the hands. We're going to hold and hold and hold and release. Draw the knees into chest to release the back, and bringing the legs back to tabletop. We're going to inhale to prepare. And on the exhale, press those hands into those legs into the hands. Hold it here. We're looking above those knees. Keep holding and release. Beautiful. Level 2 is we're going to take a nice deep breath in, and on our exhale, we're going to come into our ab prep position. So whenever you're ready, on that exhale, folding those ribs up, hold it here. Take a nice full deep breath in and press. Hold. Keep the gaze above the knees. And release the back, lying back down, draw the knees into chest, coming all the way back up, getting into our level 2 position here. Deep breath in to prepare. And on the exhale, let's press as much energy as you can, so the hands are pressing into the legs into the hands. Beautiful. Let's lie back on our back. Resume the position, and on the exhale, we're pressing to hold. Lots of energy, working those lower abdominals, and let's fold those knees side to side. Let's just release the back. Let's just rock side to side. Good job. That one's quite hard. Good. Legs are going to go back into a tabletop position. Let's interlace those fingers. Place them behind the head. Head's very heavy. Elbows are at 45 degrees. We're going to take a nice deep breath in to prepare. On the exhale, we're going to fold those ribs again towards those hips. And let's lengthen the knees away from us. So if you can come into a diagonal, that's great. If you have to keep your knees bent and just work with just getting a little bit more of a longer line between that knee and the hip, that's totally fine. You don't need to come into that full diagonal extension. Even just moving the knees away from the body a little bit is okay. So please make sure that your head is really heavy here, that you keep lengthening through that neck, and you're bringing those ribs towards the hips. That's the focus here. You're not doing any work with the upper body. All right, let's lie on the back. Let's rock side to side. Let's release the back. Bring those legs back into tabletop. We're going to keep those feet flexed now. So we're going to take a nice deep breath in. On the exhale, we're going to extend through the heels. We're going to leave our upper bodies down here for the first few. And pressing out nice and long. Make sure those ribs are knitting together. You're feeling those back ribs on the mat. Using the lower abdominals to come in. Level 2, we're going to come into that little ab curl position. So this is going to be a lot harder. Trying to keep that body nice and stable. So when we extend through the heels, lots of energy coming out, that we're using our lower abdominals to pull our knees back in towards our chest. This one gets pretty difficult pretty quick, so just be patient. All right, and let's release. Let's lie on our back. We're going to come back into that tabletop position. Let's interlace those fingers, place our head back in our hands, and when you're ready, we're going to come into that ab prep position. We're going to do a combo here. So we're going to extend those legs nice and long, scoop the lower belly, flex the feet, and now we're going to press out. So inhale to return, exhale to extend nice and long. So we're just going to float through these two positions. So just thinking about extending at the ankle, and then also pulling back those toes towards your face so that it's almost like you're standing on the ground. A few more times here, just really focusing on those long legs, scooping through those lower belly, and let's release the back. Come into our frog. So we're going to come back into that tabletop position. We're going to come into our Pilates V with our feet. Knees are going in the line of the armpit, staying in level 1. We're going to inhale to prepare. On the exhale, we're going to extend those legs nice and long, zipping those inner thighs in together, pointing those toes. Flexing the feet as we inhale, the knees back towards the body. On the exhale, again, coming to that long diagonal, pointing those toes. Flexing the feet as we inhale to return. We're going to interlace our fingers if you want to go into level 2. Coming up, folding those ribs towards those hips. and extending those legs nice and long again. So focusing on length here when you bring your knees back in towards the body, focusing on that nice lower body scoop. We're going to add some beats. So when you extend your leg, we're going to clap the heels together 3 times. So inhale to draw the knees back towards the chest. As we exhale, we're going to clap 1, 2, and 3. So it's adding a little bit of inner thigh work here. Lots of stability, making sure that that pelvis stays nice and steady. And let's fold the knees in towards the body, and let's just release the back. We're going to lengthen our legs up towards the ceiling in an imprinted position, working in some scissors here, making sure those ribs are connected. So on the exhale, you're going to extend one leg down on a long diagonal while we're also scooping through the abdominal to pull that top leg back towards you. If you want to work in level 2, make sure to keep those ribs always coming towards the hips, seeking length through the neck. And when you're finished, just bring your knees into chest, release that back. Make any adjustments that you have to. And we're going to come back into an imprinted position, lengthen those legs up towards the ceiling. We're going to do some inner thigh work here. So we're going to open those legs nice and wide out to the side, and then we're going to squeeze those legs together. So we want to bring our legs just slightly away from us so that we're engaging those lower abdominals. We want to make sure that we feel those back ribs on the mat, and we're leading with the pinky toes as we open the legs out towards the side. Just make sure that your hips are nice and steady, so don't go further than you have to. If you're opening your legs too wide and your pelvis is swinging side to side, please just reduce that a little bit by not opening your legs quite so far. So we always want to picture the energy coming out right through the tops of those toes, nice and long. Making sure we're breathing. And we're going to flex our feet now, and we're just going to work with the lower part of the legs. So we're going to keep the knees turned out to the side as we draw the heels in together to touch. And then we're going to open out to the side. So keeping those feet nice and active, so it's almost like they're standing on the ground. So make sure that you're really focusing on the pinky toe as much as you are the big toe. So this one is quite a concentrated movement here, so just go as slow as you have to. Just make sure that when those heels touch, there's a slight little pressing together to further activate the pelvic floor. Focusing on the ribs. And let's put the hands out to the side. Pressing down into our palms. Now let's point the toes, and we're going to make a diamond shape now with the legs. So we're going to come to touch the tips of the toes together. Again, just really working right from the knees all the way down to the toes. Trying to keep those hips super stable. This is super concentrated. Go into a little combo here. So let's flex the feet, let's draw those heels together, and then we're going to touch the toes and keep those ankles pointed as we bring them out to the side. So we're doing a nice little combination of both of the movements, which is going to really work the inner thigh line as well as going to challenge the ankles, and it's going to also really challenge the hips and the lower abdominals to keep that pelvis nice and steady. So focusing on squeezing those heels together, touching those toes, and opening out to the side. And when you're finished, let's just open our legs out to the side, just surrendering to that stretch. Just let everything go. And let's bring our legs back on the ground, making the adjustments that you have to. We're going into our bridge series. So we're going to have our feet about sit bone distance apart, pressing down into the palms of our hands, making sure that we're in that nice neutral spine. We're going to inhale to lengthen the sit bones towards the heels. On the exhale, we're going to slowly pull each vertebra off of the floor at a time, holding at the top, deep full breath in, and at the exhale, softening first from the sternum, rolling each vertebra down at a time through that long tailbone and releasing back into that neutral spine at the very bottom. Inhale to prepare and exhale. Slowly scoop that pelvis, peel each vertebra off at a time and coming back down one vertebra at a time. So we're always going to inhale to stay at the very top and inhale to stay. And we're going to just slowly work into that back body. So let's pick one heel up and press that heel down. So we want to spread those toes nice and wide. We want to focus on that hamstring connection and that lower glute. Making sure that our ribs are in one line with the hips. We're not popping through those ribs. And we want to peel each heel off the floor at a time, focusing on a really nice smooth transition. And now we're going to open the knees to the side and close. So we're doing a little bit of outer glute work here. So what happens with the feet is that the feet kind of tip over a little bit onto their lateral edge as we open those knees. And then we really want to focus on squeezing those inner thighs together, which will return the feet flat on the floor. Might take a little bit of concentration. Pressing down into the palms of the hands will help keep that stability. And let's just soften all the way down, rolling down vertebra by vertebra. And let's bring the feet closer together. So we're narrowing that base of support here. So we're just going to press the hips up. So the hips are going to move in one line. We're not doing any articulation here. So we want to exhale to press, inhale to return. So we want to keep focusing on bringing those knees into each other, squeezing those inner thighs, squeezing those glutes. And now we're going to tip the hips over towards the right, come right through center, and we're going to try to touch the left side of that hip over towards the left. So we're doing a little bit of a hip twist here. Just going to finish our hip twist, and then we're going to go into some little pulses here. So we're doing a really short range here, kind of about 2 inches down, and then pressing up, squeezing those glutes, focusing on opening up through those hip flexors and those lower abdominals. And when you're finished, let's return the hips to the floor, and we'll just release the back by bringing the knees in towards the body. Just moving around, make your adjustments, and we're going to go into our side body work. So whenever you're ready, let's rotate onto the side. We're going to come into our side plank series. So let's start in level 1. So we're going to stack the feet, stack the knees. We're going to really lift the bottom ribs away from the floor, make sure the elbow is close to underneath that shoulder, pressing down through the palm. When you're ready, you're going to lift those hips up and lowering down, really trying to initiate right from that waistline. And a nice little image I like to think about when I'm doing any kind of planks is that those bottom ribs are actually pushing those top ribs up, so it really engages that side body. You can stay with level 1 if you like, or if you want to go into level 2, you're going to extend your legs, you're going to flex those feet, feed those bottom ribs up, pressing into the hand, and when you're ready, we're going to lift those hips all the way up and then coming down, trying to keep those hip bones facing the front, really slurping through that waistline, drawing that top scapula back so that the shoulder is away from the ears. This is a really great side body activator. And we're going to hold it here. See if you can extend a little more, and let's come all the way down. Lovely. Let's just come and lie on our side now. So again, trying to make that little connection with that side body. We're going to bring the top leg over top, And we're just going to extend that bottom leg. So we're doing some more inner thigh work here. So I like to point my foot to keep that leg nice and long. So connecting with the inner thigh, we're just going to lift it up and lowering it down. Little pulses here. Remembering to breathe. Keeping that upper body active even though you're lying on the floor. Keep pulsing, and we're going to do the full range again. So around now you should start to feel that burn. I definitely can. And here we go again, little pulses, pulsing up, so that focus is really up and up and up. It's getting harder. Good work. And let's transition over to the other side. So we're going to go right back into our level 1 side plank. So again, stacking those knees, keeping the feet connected, elbow underneath the shoulder, firing up through that side body, and let's press those hips up and lowering down. Trying to think about your body moving in one long, almost like a plank position here. That side body connection. And if you want to go into your level 2, you can extend those legs, zip those inner thighs in together, really flex the feet nice and hard. And when you're ready, we're going to come to that nice long plank. So again, when you're in that nice long extended position at the top, see if you can tuck a little bit more into those ribs and hips just to really activate that waistline, that side body. And let's hold and hold, pressing down through that palm, making sure the shoulder blades are down. Lovely. And let's lie down on our side. You can relax your head in your hands. Let's fold that top leg over, and we're going to work through that bottom leg. So some more inner thigh work here. We're going to do that full range series before we go into the pulses. We're going to repeat this 2 times. And just remembering, if you need a little break, please take a break at any time. These exercises, they catch up on you quickly. So you can always pause, have a break, and come back. So here we are in little pulses. So working about 2 or 3 inches up, 2 or 3 inches down, just making sure that our leg hovers. And back to that full range. And little pulses here, and up, and up, and up, and up. Keep going. Almost done, and relax. Good job. We're going to transition onto our bellies for some back body work. We're going to stack the hands and place them underneath the forehead. We're going to spiral the inner thighs in towards each other, which is going to cause the pinky toes to flare out slightly. Press the pubic bone into the floor, and we're going to pull away with our belly button from the floor. You're going to take a nice deep breath in to lengthen. On the exhale, leading with the nose, we're going to slide the chest forward and then shining that chest all the way up. Having a nice long line from the top of the head all the way to the toes. Coming all the way back down, inhale to lengthen, and exhale, we're going to slide forward and shining that chest up. We're going to hold it here. Take a nice full deep breath in, breathing into those back ribs, and exhale to return. And when you're ready, we're going to actually hold this chest extension here. So take a nice deep breath in, exhale, slide that chest forward, coming all the way up, knitting those ribs. You're going to fire up to that right leg, float the right leg up, and return to the floor. Let's float the left leg up and down. So we're going to do this a few times each. We're moving right from the back of that hip. So right at the bottom of those glutes, right at the tops of those hamstrings, keeping that leg nice and long and keeping that little bit of internal rotation. We're gonna lift both legs up. This is a lot more challenging here. It's a lot more isolated movement. So only move as far as you can, making sure that we're not dumping into that lower back. Keep slurping the belly away from the floor. There's a lot of work here in that lower body. Beautiful. Let's press back into a shell stretch. Let's send those hips towards those heels. Let's around the upper back. Beautiful. Take a nice full deep breath in. And let's return to the floor. We're going to open our legs so that they're the width of the mat, and we're going to open our arms to a cactus position. We're going to slide the knees up the legs to activate the quadricep, and on your exhale, you're going to float the upper body and lower body off the floor. Inhale, we're going to lengthen through the arms, we're going to lower the torso, and as we exhale, we're going to draw the elbows back towards the hips, trying to really keep a nice long line in our Superman position, and then coming into that beautiful chest extension when we come up with that exhale, when we draw the elbows back towards the hips. Keeping the legs nice and active. Good, we're going to do one more time. And then let's place the hands on the back of the head. We're going to do some lateral flexion here. So trying to keep that nice long line. We're trying to connect those ribs towards those hips. So again, just working that side body connection. We're making sure that the legs keep floating off the ground. So there's a lot of work being done in that posterior chain of the hamstrings, the lower glutes. Keep the shoulder blades sliding down the back. We'll try to release any tension in the neck. I know it gets a little hard after a while. Lovely. And let's press back into that shell stretch. Stretching out that back, send those hips, tuck through that pelvis. Come and we're gonna sit on our knees. So we're gonna stack everything on top of the knees, so making sure that the hips are on top of the knees. We're going to open our legs so that they're about sit bone distance apart. Let's interlace those fingers placed on the back of the head, and we're just going to fold at the hips. So this is all glutes here. So we're going to send those hips close to the heels, fire up to press front. So making sure that we're getting that really nice back body connection here, and as we're pressing up, its hamstrings is opening up through the hip flexors. Again, checking in with the ribs. So we're coming into that nice long line with the upper body as we fold at the hips. Trying to keep long in the neck. We're looking at the floor. And now we're going to come back on those knees. We're going to come almost in like our bodies in a plank position. So this is all quadriceps now. So all front body. You really want to focus on keeping that long line, so really engaging the hip flexors as we lean back, and as you get more comfortable, you can start to move a little bit further back to engage those quads. Let's come back into our squat. We're going to do a little combo here, pressing all the way up, and then now let's lean back. So we're targeting a few different areas of the lower body here. Pressing up. Arms float in front, so lots of energy in those arms. Those arms are not lazy by any means. Everything is connected, everything is active, using our own internal muscle energy. And again, start to see if you can come back a little bit further. If you can dive a little deeper in the squat, press those hips forward a little bit more, and then leaning back on those knees, tucking through that pelvis, making sure that that tailbone is nice and long, so that everything is moving in one line. And we're going to hold. We're going to do little tiny pulses here. So a little half range or even a quarter range. And this is hard. And let's come to sit. Let's just take a moment. Let our body just absorb all the work that we did. I don't know about you, but my legs really feel it. Let's just do some nice deep breaths. Let's just work through that neck, releasing any tension. Beauty. And let's come and sit down. Let's cross our legs. So we're gonna finish with how we started. We're gonna do that nice little extension and then that nice rounded back. So when you're ready, take a nice deep breath in, extending all the way up to the ceiling on the exhale, tucking through the hips, through the pelvis, rounding into that back body. We're gonna just do this a few times, so just really enjoy the freedom of this movement. Your back probably feels quite a bit different after that workout. Just enjoy this beautiful space. And let's just do a nice little twist. So we'll bring our left hand on the right knee, rotate through center, and then spiraling out of that hip with the torso. Trying to keep both sit bones rooted. Lovely. Let's take a nice full deep breath in. And on the exhale, you're done. Thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed today.